Welcome to the Deep Dive,
Emerald City Hockey's Seattle Kraken podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Deep Dive, Emerald City Hockey Seattle Kraken podcast. RJ, it is finally the last podcast before training camp / rookie camp starts later on this week. Oh, I'm thrilled.
Me too. I mean, we're going to see actual Kraken prospects on the ice in 3 days. On Thursday, rookie camp starts, and then from there just goes all into training camp and the season, and hockey will feel like it's back. So one more podcast until that happens. But good news is we have some cool stuff to talk about. Maybe not so much players on the ice, but some other interesting things.
Yeah, there are some interesting things to talk about. Obviously, the third jersey reveal, we spoke last week of kind of giving our last minute guesses as to what it was going to involve. We have the full jersey reveal. We'll break that down. We have something that may be tied to the new jerseys as well. Something added to the game day experience at CPA that we're not too sure about. And we haven't really seen anybody else talk about like at all. So we'll kind of go over that and everything. And then, well, we'll get to the third thing shortly here, but of course, first, got to thank our wonderful sponsor, the Rafters of Rico Tessendorf, for sponsoring the podcast like they do each and every week, RJ. And, you know, I was thinking about the third jerseys, and they do, in fact, glow in the dark. This is what we know about them. That was what we speculated and what turned out to be true. And I was thinking about those, and I was like, okay, you know, it's an otherwise like black jersey. It's gonna be maybe difficult to see at night. People should exercise caution when crossing streets, busy roadways, right? Riding a bike if you're doing that from CPA, something like that. But then I thought, well, maybe the glow in the dark makes it a little safer. Maybe it's a little bit more high visibility. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not so bad. And maybe then things wouldn't happen. But if they did, of course, you should call Rico.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. It does make it safer if you're going out at night. So after a Kraken game, right? If it's
Mm-hmm.
poorly lit or whatever it is, you're crossing the street, it can be a hazardous situation. Maybe people have been drinking after the
Mm-hmm.
games, it's not always the safest environment on the road, but maybe if they see that glow in the dark Kraken logo, they might see you enough to stop.
Yeah.
Which again might hurt his business a little bit, but I think ultimately, Rico doesn't want anyone to have to call.
I think Rico's fine with that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is not legal advice. I would not count on this jersey being high vis and
No.
stopping an accident from occurring. But I could see it helping a little bit during some of those dark, rainy Seattle winter times, that high visibility and that glow in the dark there. So while we of course hope none of you ever need his services, the odds say at some point someone out there will be involved in an accident, whether on the road, at work, or anywhere in between. And when you are, we hope you call Rico at 425-778-9800 or visit his website ricotessendor.com to schedule a free consultation. He's won millions of dollars for his clients and helped thousands of people in the greater Seattle area, and as a fellow member of the ECH community, we know he'll help you too. Now, the question is, RJ, will Rico help the members of the Seattle Kraken? Because, oh boy, do I think that they were injured when they had to look at themselves in the NHL 26 video game. I can't think of anything that would deserve more compensation than how they butchered their likenesses for this video game, RJ. I know you've seen the faces. I know people have been talking about it for several days all over social media in the Kraken sphere, but the first thing I thought of when that happened was I was like, oh, we should get some cards from Rico and we'll just pass those around the locker room because this is tough.
Yeah, now if you'd asked me a few days ago, I'd say, well, that's a little frivolous, isn't it, Dylan? But after looking at what NHL 26 did to these Kraken players' images, yes, absolutely, they should call Rico.
Yeah, it is brutal. And I as I'm unfortunately having to look at them again right now for this segment, there's so many things that stand out about it. There's the element of the uncanny valley, right? That video games that are particularly not necessarily going to spend the bulk of their budget on recreating real people, which I don't think NHL 26 is doing. They might be, considering how like iffy the gameplay is at times, but so maybe this is. But when I look at it, that's I think the biggest thing is that they're just slightly enough recognizable that your brain just goes, oh, that's a terrible version of Matty Beniers. Oh, that's a terrible Jordan Eberle, right?
It's just enough that you could kind of tell who it's supposed to be, but you're like, oh, that's no, you didn't do a good job there.
Yeah, and it just makes them feel off, and it's also it highlights to me also that we've reached the point in sports video games where what they are truly doing, and especially this is driven home if you're seeing the images of the players like, NHL.com face profile picture, and then them in NHL 26, where it is so clearly just an algorithm that's just scanning that NHL.com profile picture and then just layering that on top of the 3D model, and that no human being is actually like sculpting or making tweaks or adjustments to this, because it has this weird like flat image that's been then stretched into a third dimension that is just atrocious.
Yeah, it's like again, they made a flat mask and just stretched. I think that pretty much. I mean, that's I bet that's kind of what they're doing more or less. Because I mean, I won't get into the whole problem with the yearly release of these games and everything, but you just don't have time to do anything more than
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, yeah, and there's so many other like questionable things about it that they're doing. I also want to know why for some players hair is very much like an individual strand of hair is its own thing with its own texture and physics and all of that. It's built out from a single follicle. And then for other players, like on the Matty Beniers one, right? Like his hair very much looks like individual strands of hair that are going to be, clumped together physics wise, but they're going to like kind of have individual movement. But then you'll go to other players and it very much looks like their hair, like Riker Evans, which, oh my god, this Riker Evans is terrifying. Um, and it looks like it's just one solid block of Lego hair placed on top of them.
Yeah,
How's that
there's
happen?
only two options, right? I mean, and you see this in like the NHL Create a Player too. When you're creating your, if you have short hair, good luck because it's just going to be a block. If you have longer hair, it's all going to be all physicsed out and everything.
Although
I mean, look at
Shane's
look at
longer hair isn't. Shane definitely has Lego hair. That is the Lego hair that comes with every Lego minifig of all,
yes.
like ever.
I guess you need to be really long. I mean, look at I think the worst hair still though is Joey Daccord.
Oh man, it's not even, it's like lopsided, and that's like what tells you that this was clearly just scanning his profile picture, right? Because he's got his hair parted right at the side, and he's kind of pushing it over, and so the thing scanned it, and now it makes Joey's head look like it's like elongated and lopsided.
Yeah, it. I'm trying to figure out because this. I think Joey Daccord was the most hurt by this. I think Joey needs to call Rico more than anybody else
He's
compared to how he
unrecognizable.
act. Right, and yeah, that one you can't recognize it's him. He's the one player where I think you could tell me that's a Kraken player they tried to make. I couldn't tell you who it was. I'd have three or four wrong guesses before I would guess him.
I totally. I don't know that I could ever get that that's him. Josh Mahura doesn't look anything like Josh Mahura either. Like I'm legit wondering if they even did this with Josh Mahura.
Yeah, well, I think they put more effort into better players,
Oh yeah, John
into
Hayden,
star
Jaden
players.
Hayden, John Hayden does not look like John Hayden either.
Right. I think more effort is put into top players on a team or top players in the league.
Yeah,
And I think you kind of see that here, where at least the top players on the Kraken more resemble themselves as compared to the depth guys.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
But one thing I don't
And
understand,
yet
because
somehow they perfectly got Ty Cartier into the game.
I don't know. I can't explain it. But another thing I can't explain though, is why it seems to have gotten worse in recent NHL
hmm
games. Because I remember, 3-4 years ago, we're looking at the screenshots because we did this when we were starting out ECH because there wasn't a whole lot to talk about, like, before they ever played a game and all that stuff. So, we did a deeper dive on that sort of thing. And I swear the players' faces looked better and more realistic like 4 years ago.
I think they did too. Like again, I think they changed, but I think like human beings were actually involved in the process back then.
Yeah.
Like I think that that's what's changed is that this is now just all handled by, well, I'm sure what EA would call their like some proprietary advanced AI algorithm that's handling everything and is clearly doing a great job poor Shane. Oh, poor Shane, and the tiny face they gave him.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like
It's a small
there's,
face.
like they shrunk his face down on the head. Like I don't understand it. It's clearly like one of those things where like obviously there's the component that I've already talked about. But yeah, I think that like with back in the day with the older games, right? Like you weren't hitting that the valley part of the uncanny valley because it just wasn't as good, right? Like there wasn't as much in the engine that you could build out physics wise, that you could build out 3D model wise, right? Have the same level of detail, and so everybody was kind of like smooth, and you had like the basic layout of their features, but you weren't going to have any of the smaller features to their face. And that works great for some players, like young Sidney Crosby back in like 2K7 days. It worked perfectly because Sidney Crosby's face was smooth and had basically no features to it, so it worked out really good. But here, like you're trying to build in things like skin texture, like individual hair texture, right? The beards are all atrocious on this, because of those like individual hairs that are being like layered on. Again,
It's
poor
over engineered.
poor Shane Wright with that patchy monstrosity, and Philip Grubauer with like a Santa beard. He looks like young Chris Kringle from Santa Claus is Coming to Town with that beard, like that awkward stage of the movie where he has just the long red beard that always is the boring part of the movie. That's what he looks like. But so there's like that. There's like those components. They're trying to add like color to them, right? Like different shades of color, have like rosy cheeks, all of that kind of stuff. But what they're not doing is adding in any sort of like realistic blemishes. So like you're getting like these kind of creepy synthetic versions instead of what looks like a real person. And I get not wanting to add, particularly like for the younger players here. Again, they're hockey players, they're sweating in helmets all day, right? There tends to be a decent amount of like acne on like their forehead, stuff like that. And I get not wanting to necessarily model all of that into a game for these guys, but it kind of, I think it would help. Like they wouldn't look again like weird robot people.
Yeah. I think
Like Westworld
look at
versions of themselves.
right. Ellie Tolvanen looks kind of like Ryan Donato with the mustache.
Yeah, Tolvanen is, again, some of these are just so odd. I mean, Tolvanen looks like just an NHL player from the 70s. Like you could tell me that was like the third line left winger for like the 72 Islanders and I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Mason Marchment looks like he could be on the Flint Tropics.
Definitely. Give him again, like there's not, like compare that hair to Matty Beniers' hair in game and it's like completely different. Like I just don't even like there's no consistency from player to player. It's very interesting. It's very strange.
Yeah. Well, the peak of NHL gaming remains NHL 14 or NHL 2K8 depending on what kind of things you're going for.
Yes, definitely. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, does this make you want to buy the game? You buying this?
I haven't bought that game in over a decade. I will not support EA Sports. Will not do it.
I was going to say, I'm trying to remember the last one because I think we bought the last one together, right? Like we were in a league with your brother online on PS4, remember? Remember we all did the Built-A teams? I was the Wolf Pack.
Oh, that wasn't the last. That was like 21.
That was older
ago.
than 21.
Oh no, the last one. No,
I'm just saying, like that's the last time I bought
like
an
18,
NHL game
something
was
like
that. Well, I was gonna say 17 or 18. It was whichever one Tarasenko was on, and he was still St. Louis Blues, so that helps date it.
Okay, yeah, that should say around what it was to date it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it wasn't worth it at all. We did our league with the three.
Yeah, I think we played like 2 or 3 games, and that was it.
The creative team was fun.
Yes.
We did all that. We customized everything. We put so much time in that. And when it came time to actually play the games, like, God, this game's unplayable.
Yeah, it was unplayable and we stopped pretty quick. I remember though, we did the fantasy draft version, for the franchise mode.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my first pick was like 20-year-old Clayton Keller. He might have been even younger, actually. I think I was just like, yeah, I think this guy's gonna be it.
Yep, solid pick.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, those are terrible. And again, guys, that number for Rico, should you need it, 425-778-9800. Joey, give him a call. All right, on to the third jersey, RJ, because the third jersey is officially here for the Seattle Kraken. We have it. A lot of the stuff that we were kind of, guessing about last week did in fact turn out to be true. Again, they were kind of dropping hints to all of these things along the way. It is black on black largely, the jersey, but it does feature those glow in the dark elements, particularly around the crest, name, number, and sponsor for Muckleshoot.
Of
There,
course,
they get
crucially.
the glow in the dark there. What do you think?
Well, I mean, should I just get going into everything that I think? Because
I was gonna say
look,
you're
I
you're more
don't
down
wanna.
on them than I am, so I can come in
Yes.
second and kind of raise the mood,
That's
maybe.
good. That's actually how it usually goes, I feel like, with us. This is good. This is a good formula that we have. And look, I you know I tend to be down on certain things with this team, and I don't want to just pile on with this. So I want to start by just saying, look, it doesn't look bad. I want to get that out of the way, and I want everybody to listen and to hear me when I say it doesn't look bad. It's not bad, but
Mhm. I was
it
gonna say
is under. Yeah,
there's a
there's
butt
a but
coming.
there. Yes, but it's underwhelming and it's uncreative. Now, maybe my expectations were a little too high because I do want to say also the Kraken have done a fantastic job on every prior jersey that they've made. I mean, their home and away are excellent. The Winter Classic is one of the best jerseys I've ever seen, like top notch. And personally, I'm a fan of the reverse retro. I like it because I love that ice blue color, and it shines through on the top. And I know it's cursed, so that's the worst thing about it. But I do like the reverse retros as well. So when you look at the overall set of all the jerseys the Kraken have made, unfortunately, I have to say this is the worst of the bunch by far. And again, it's not because it looks bad, but because it's not creative. 22 teams, I believe I counted, have black jerseys either now or in the last couple of years. I think half the league has black jerseys currently in their rotation at the moment. And it's just the most played out concept in the NHL. It's boring, it's been done before, and it's especially bad, I think, if you are a team like the Kraken with a really good color palette that you could
Mhm.
use. Like, we haven't seen a primarily ice blue jersey for the Kraken yet. I mean, the reverse retro was kind of the closest we got, but they have such a cool color palette with all the different blues that I think they could have used anyway. And already your primaries are a dark blue, which is, kind of close enough to the black anyway. So I think the Kraken really shouldn't be one of those teams with a black jersey in their rotation. As for the glow in the dark, because the black jersey thing is uncreative, everybody's done it. It's the most played out concept. They did add the glow in the dark, which is novel. Well, novel-ish, because
Mhm.
I mean it has been done by Vegas before. Vegas already did it. It's not new, but it's kind of novel. And if they were creative about how they implemented it, I think that would have been really good and I would have more positive things to say. But really, Dylan, I think they did the most basic thing with it that they possibly could have, which is just okay, they did an outline on the logo and it glows in the dark and it's kind of that green glow in the dark color. Cool. I can't think of a more basic cookie cutter way that they could have possibly implemented the glow in the dark concept than what they did. And then finally, we speculated a lot about it last week when we were wondering what the jersey would be. Maybe there'd be some other logo on the front. They've gone with the Kraken logo or something resembling it every single time on previous jerseys that they've done. I thought this would have been a really good opportunity to try something else. And they didn't. So that was a disappointing element of it for me, especially because I know a lot of people want to see the anchor logo on the front
Mhm.
of a jersey, myself included. And I know you've kind of pushed back saying, well, given the spacing and everything, it doesn't really work as a center crest and everything. But Dylan, I sent you a picture, and I think it's
Yep.
been around online. I'll post it on the Discord, a picture of what that would have looked like. Basically, take this exact jersey design, put the anchor on the front, and I believe the picture I sent you also just gives it like a little red outline.
Mhm.
Tell me that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean
It works.
it works. Yeah, it
This would have
works.
been the perfect opportunity to use it. So, in so many ways, this jersey feels like a missed opportunity to me to try something a little bit more creative, to do something a little different, and also to maybe swim against the tide of what the NHL does with their jerseys. Now, I understand why you do something like this. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that think it looks really great, that plan to get one and love it. And I will say I understand that. Like there's a reason that more than half the league has these types of jerseys, especially for third jerseys. It's because they sell and people like them.
Mhm.
And so, it's hard for me to kind of argue against that because I mean, look, it does look nice. It looks kind of sharp at everything, but when everybody does it, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. So Dylan, tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think that the points you're making are totally wrong, right? Like I have issues with certain aspects of the jersey. I'm with you in the amount of glow is not kind of what I was hoping, and it sounds like the sleeves, the striping on the sleeves is more UV active than like blacklight active than actual glowing. Based on what we've kind of heard. So it's one where like, last week when I talked about it, I said if you're doing glow in the dark, which again it seemed like they were, and I'll get to the marketing campaign for this in a second, don't just have it be the crest, right? Like don't just do crests and numbers on the back because it's not it gives an okay effect, but I don't feel like it gives the like really cool, stand apart from everybody else effect, especially in arena, because crests are easy to be obscured, right? You're gonna have people sitting in front of you. You might be holding food or a drink or whatever. You're holding your phone up, right? When people are holding their phone up to take video around the arena, when they're gonna inevitably kill the lights and everybody's jersey's gonna glow, and the team's gonna come out and they're gonna be glowing on the ice, right? When you hold your phone up in a hockey jersey, right? You're holding it directly in front of you, and that like loose fabric from the arms absolutely starts obscuring the middle, right? And so I wanted there to be like more shoulder element, or like full built out shoulders that glowed, or down the sleeves that glowed more than what they inevitably did here. I don't know the economies of that, right? Like I don't know how much
Yeah.
glow in the dark thread costs, and if the stitching on that would just be way too cost prohibitive. But I was hoping for something like that. So for me, the glow in the dark element, I think it looks really cool. I like the color that they went with for it, but I just don't know that it's going to have a big lasting effect beyond the first, two or maybe three times that we see them wearing the jersey. And then to your point about it being black, again, something else we talked about last week, kind of not hoping for that black on black, because once the lights come on and the game is going to start, the team's just gonna be wearing a black jersey. That's like 90% just black, right? Like they're not gonna be glowing during the game because the game is going to be lit. And I think that they're going to look boring at during those times, kind of the way they, frankly, like right now, if you go to the KCI team store and you see them on display, they just kind of look like a black Kraken jersey, right? Like there's not like too much to them there. And so I wish that there was more design elements to the jersey, even if they didn't glow, just to give it a little bit more flair and distinction from any other kind of black, and particularly black and red jersey that the NHL kind of already has around, right? So that's I think the other big issue I have with it is just that once the game starts, I think that we're not really going to feel like we're watching the Kraken that much. And that
Yeah.
I think is maybe a downside of this.
Right. I think that's the biggest downside is just going to be basically with the lights on, how it's going to look. Now, I mean, my more cynical side was thinking, okay, maybe this just kind of screams low effort to me. And maybe the thinking was, okay, we'll put this together. It's going to print money. We'll use the glow in the dark gimmick and it's going to be great. We're going to make lots of money. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. Thinking about it more, I really think the thought process was maybe people got a little too lost in thinking about the cool things you could do during the pregame show when you do have that UV light on it and then the sleeves do light up and you have, I mean, these great promo shots that you have where you kind of have that ice blue, the jersey looks like it lights up ice blue,
Hmm.
with the logo and the sleeves and the captaincy for Everly and the sponsor patch and the number and the name and everything. Those look great. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's custom lighting and the UV lighting on and everything. And I bet they're going to be able to replicate some of that during the pregame show and get
Hmm.
some stuff to look really cool on the ice. Like the Kraken have great creative minds
Yeah.
that can put together an awesome show with that sort of thing. And I think maybe they got a little too lost in the possibilities of that and maybe didn't think enough about how the jersey is going to look in the light. Because
Ye-
I think when the lights are on, this is maybe top 3, top 5 most boring jerseys in the NHL.
Well, we've seen some boring ones. I don't know that I go that far,
I
but
would.
I do think that it's gonna have a very different effect with the lights on and the players skating around. I think that yeah, I think it as with everything with this team, right? Like it feels like a design that was designed by committee rather than hey, let's just have like one or two people in the department really just go off on this and or like different teams kind of go off design something and then we'll pick the one we like the most. Like this felt like there was a lot of different hands involved in getting us here and I think that always tends to then produce something that's a little bit more underwhelming. I do kind of take issue with all of the marketing that they've done around this, and this is arguably the thing I like about it the least, is just the marketing around it. And I think the Kraken do normally such a good job with marketing, but with the video and the way they teased this, I think all the teasers leading up to it maybe set our expectations too high because they were a little too good, right? But they also tipped their hands that it was going to be glowing, that it was going to use the S crest, right? Like a lot of the features that are like going to blow you away about this jersey people were guessing literally months ago, right? When they first talked about this and teased it, right? Like right away everybody was like, "Oh, I bet it glows in the dark." So it kind of took away the wow factor from the release because I feel like that would have been the like you could show the jersey and then all of a sudden the lights go out and it starts glowing, right? In a video and everybody would be like, "Oh!" And we're talking about this very differently. But when I talked all last week on this pod before we saw it about all the cool ways you could have it glow in the dark, and then none of those existed, I feel like you're just setting people up to be a little bit more like, okay, right? Like the best you can get is more or less like, okay, yeah, they didn't mess it up. I'm gonna buy one, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that that was an issue. The other thing is with the video, the Kraken do such a good job on these videos, right? They look like $1 million. They look fantastic. They tell a good story. I like the lighthouse idea and the glow and all of that. It all works. I thought the video was a little too long before it got to the jersey. I think again you set up a big marketing campaign, want to see the jersey, and yeah, a lot of all of the shots in that release video of the jersey are it under a blue light. There is never a time where they just kill the lights and let the jersey actually do the work. And that has me a little worried because again, it sets stuff up where you see like even the stills on like NHL.com, right? Of Jordan Eberle wearing it, he's very obviously lit with a blue UV light. And so the stripes on the arms have a cool effect, and everything's got this very blue effect, and it's very striking, and it looks like a great promotional image but that's not what they're going to look like in the dark. And I'm worried that like, are you trying to, does it not look good in the dark? And so you're trying to hide that? Or again, you just weren't really thinking about it. And again, you're setting up like a different expectation where again, now somebody's going to get this jersey. Or when you look at like Fox 13 has a jersey, has a picture of the jersey with it glowing. And it again, I think it does look striking. Like there is the S crest, the way they outlined it, I think they outlined it perfectly. I think it looks good. I think even the sponsorship patch looks good in the glow in the dark. But you immediately realize that those sleeves do not glow, right? The stripes on the sleeves are not glowing. The captain's C is just kind of outlined with it, and it's very faint and it's kind of hard to see. And you immediately go like, oh, okay, that's not really what the Kraken like promotional images when Eberle was wearing it kind of look like,
Yeah,
right?
and there are some other promotional images too that they have where I don't know where this was shot or whatever, but it looks to me like there's somebody, like there's a skater, a player standing outside somewhere, and you can see some trees back behind him, and it looks like moonlight behind him where it's dark outside. And you can see it's just the logo lighting up. You can't see the
Hmm.
sleeves. You can kind of see the sponsor patch a little bit, but you can't really see the C. Like that's what it's going to actually look like
Right,
in the dark if you don't have that specialized blue light shining right at it. And
right.
so I do think, fans need to know what this thing's actually gonna look like.
Yeah, because
And also the glow
I've
in the dark, kind of that green that's like on the Vegas jerseys or
mhm,
whatever, the kind of the
the
normal
traditional
green
glow in
glow
the
in the
dark
dark.
green.
Yeah, what you would associate with that. And it's not that ice blue
Right.
that it looks like when it's being shined out with the blue light.
Right. And so I just saw a lot of people initially react to those images that the Kraken put out and the blue and the sleeves and all of that stuff. And I was like, that's not really what this is. And so I do feel like there's a little element of, you know, I don't think it's intentional deception, but I do think that that was something that again somebody didn't necessarily think about, and just to it could potentially cause issues there. I think otherwise though, I think as far as a black on black jersey, I don't hate this one at all. I think it's better than a lot of them because you do have more than just one color. I think where so many black on black jerseys fall apart is when it's just then one color for the rest of the jersey, right? There's one color outlining the logo, there's one color on the arms, there's one color of striping. I think that's where a lot of jerseys fall down. But this, you are getting, when it's lit normally, you are getting the blue and you're getting the red. And so I do think that that does help it stand apart from other black on black jerseys. I think that the sonar stripes on the sleeve are a nice touch. Maybe I don't care too much for the design, and I think that they look a little too ironed on because they are for the UV effect. But I do like that there is something on the sleeves. It's helping break up the jersey in some way. I wish there was something more on the torso or the shoulders, right? Something that delineated the shoulders from the torso part of the jersey, or the red stripe at the bottom of the torso part of the jersey was thicker somehow, just to take up some of that negative empty just blank black space. I think that would help a little bit more. But overall, I feel like for a black on black jersey, just the fact that we're getting two colors out of it automatically puts it in the higher tiers of those black on black jerseys.
It helps a little bit. I do wonder how much we're actually going to notice those sonar stripes from any kind of distance or on TV. Because looking at some of the pictures there with it, they do kind of blur back into the background, like unless it's lit particularly well or
I
you're
mean, they're
close.
supposed to.
They're supposed to.
I think
I
we'll
don't know
notice
that they're going to show.
the bottom couple, but I don't know that you're gonna, yeah, see all. How many are there? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Yeah, you're not seeing eight of them for sure on TV.
No, I don't think so. Like I think what it's going to look like on TV is just an all black jersey with some red stripes on it.
Yeah,
It's going to look like some of the Senators thirds that they've had, like
yeah.
it'll look like that. But we'll see. I mean, I could be pleasantly surprised at how much they show up, but I don't know. I still wouldn't rate it that highly of the black third jerseys personally.
The other thing that I like about it is I like the full body kit, right? And I do think this is going to help when we're seeing it out there on the ice with the Seattle Kraken, because I think the stockings for this, the socks, right, are amazing because they have the sonar striping on the socks, and I think that that
It
helps
shows
break
up a
it
lot
up.
more on the socks than
It
it
shows
does on
up
the
a lot
jersey.
more. I think they're actually thicker. Potentially, but I think that that helps a lot with this kit that would again otherwise just be black, right? Like it would just be way too much black, but I think because they have the striping down there, it helps break things up. I wish maybe there was some more something on the pants, but I think that the stripes on the socks really help out a lot, and it's going to help make the overall effect of the players in motion out there on the ice look better.
Well, the element of the uniform that I like is the matte black helmets. If you're going to go with the black jersey, I like doing the matte black helmets instead of the
Agreed.
gloss there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I don't know
agree with
that
that.
the Amazon logo needs to be glow in the dark, but I know that's a different kind of decision.
Yes. That is definitely a different decision. But I do think like it looks better full with the full kit that the players are going to be wearing than I think it looks just kind of on its own, like just being worn on its own.
Yeah, agreed. And certainly seeing it at the team store on the mannequins, I think that's kind of the worst that it's going to look.
Mhm.
I think it looks better with the uniform and everything.
And I think it'll look better like if you wore like lighter blue pants, right? To kind of match the stuff. Like I think like when you're wearing a black t-shirt or a black graphic tee, right? What you do around that kind of decides how
Mhm.
involved or intricate that shirt itself is going to look. If you wear this with black jeans, black pants, black leggings, it's gonna feel very like there's a lot of negative space going on, right? Like it's going to look a lot more empty than I think if you wore, colorful pants, right? Light blue jeans, something like that with this jersey. I think that that added bit of color when you're looking at somebody full body, which is generally how we're looking at people. Again, in arena, maybe not so much because everybody's gonna be sitting down, they're in their seats, so it's a little different. And like I said, I don't know how that's gonna play. But when you see people like walking around in this, riding the light rail, whatever, I think that depending on kind of how you accessorize around the jersey will also play a big role in whether or not you're like, yeah, okay, that jersey looks pretty good, or like, wow, that jersey's like very dark and there's not a lot going on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I mean, you can be creative about it too with the rest of your outfit and everything. Like you could certainly make it work. Um, Now, Dylan, I think we've haven't really addressed the most important part of these jerseys yet, though.
Yeah.
Certainly, when thinking about previous jerseys, they've had like the reverse retros. Are they going to be cursed? Will the Kraken get a win in them? Because I think it is worth mentioning, just so everyone knows, the Kraken will play 12 games in these jerseys. They're set to play 12 games, 11 of them at home, and then also December 4th on the road against Edmonton, which I think is interesting. I'm guessing the Oilers will wear their white jerseys for that one. It's a tough slate with these jerseys.
It
Looking at
is.
the first game is, and Dylan, I'll ask you too, is this a coincidence or do you think they're maybe planning something or looking at history? The first game they're going to wear these jerseys is November 1st against the New York Rangers at home. Now, Dylan, I said the problem is when the lights are on.
Yeah.
And they're going to look best when the lights are off. The lights have been off before against the New York Rangers.
Yep.
Are the lights going to go out again? But this time, the Kraken are going to look so cool. Or maybe they're just hedging their bets.
I mean, I think the lights will be off
If the lights
intentionally.
do go out, yeah.
For at least a portion of that. I do wonder with that decision how much of that was driven by we want to set up John Forsland to just make 10,000 comments about the
He
lights
has
going
to,
out
right?
and joking about that with JT and Edzo if Edzo's going to be in the booth for that one, because I mean it's just too obvious and too perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure it is a coincidence. I'm sure they're trying to just set it up for Black Friday sales, and that's kind of when it's ready to roll
Yeah.
out and all that stuff. But if the lights do go out again, the Kraken are set now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they are definitely set. We'll see how much they glow. Maybe it'll be enough to play the game.
I know. Yeah, you just keep the game going. That would be really cool to see, though, mid-play. I mean, you never want this to happen, of course, but if it did happen again, the lights go out mid-play and just one team's jerseys just start glowing.
Yes.
It would look pretty cool.
Have we ever? Do they play the Rangers at home every year, just like at Halloween time? Because I
Pretty
remember
much.
they've had Halloween games against them, and it just feels like every time it's right in that, like, it's that week anyway.
Yeah, there are a few regular quirks in the schedule that the Kraken
Yeah.
always seem to have. They always seem to play like the day before and the day after American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They have a few different ones like that. They usually play Vegas very late in the season. Like one of their last 2 or 3 games is Vegas, usually in Vegas.
Yeah, and San Jose and LA, it feels like a lot of closing out the year against them. Interesting. So yeah, I think that you're gonna have stuff like that. One thing that I would be curious to know, and potentially before dropping money on these, or certainly like when you go and pick one up, and I know they've already gone on sale for season ticket holders. It's kind of like a staggered rollout, and they'll be available in a couple weeks. It sounds like they're not going to be necessarily available to go right when the season starts, but kind of somewhere around there. Julie's getting a Montour one, by the way. Already ordered.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good choice on the player.
Yeah. The one thing I'm curious about is when it comes to washing and caring for the jersey, particularly the glow in the dark fabrics and threads, and like the sublaminated sleeves. I would want to know that it's safe to wash. Obviously, putting it through the dryer would do damage, like it would to any jersey. But I would just want to know, like, if you washed in like hot water, is that going to be a problem, right? Like I don't know the answer to any of this, but I suggest somebody out there asks and then lets us know so we could let everybody know.
No, I mean, we know people at the team store. We can probably look into that.
Yeah, but that is one thing that I thought of, because I know sometimes with certainly with heat sensitive things, right? Like things that change color based off of temperature, washing those can be extremely difficult because if you wash them in hot, it can just like end it, right? It's just going to be permanently kind of splotchy. I don't know with glow in the dark because I've never had a glow in the dark like article of clothing before, RJ. I don't know about you.
I don't think I have. Maybe as an elementary schooler or something
Yeah,
that would have been cool. I might have had a
but they were
glow in the
always
dark
those kind
shirt
of
or
like
something.
vinyl plastic, like stick on
Yeah.
pieces.
Or weren't glow in the dark shoes a thing?
Well, yeah, I mean,
The
there's
cool
always been
kids?
like glow in the dark or light up shoes. Yeah,
Well, light up shoes, I guess, were more of a thing than glow in the dark
I
shoes. But
wasn't.
yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have had a glow in the dark NHL jersey because that would have meant you had a Vegas jersey.
Yes, the Vegas retro reverse retro jerseys, which were they kind of went with the opposite approach. Well, I guess maybe not, right? Because I think it's worth talking about this. Those jerseys were primarily billed as blacklight jerseys, and almost all of the features on them were blacklight features. However, the Vegas down the middle, and credit goes to Light on Discord for letting me know about this because I didn't realize this. The Vegas across the middle of the jersey, across the torso of the jersey, is just straight up glow in the dark. And
Hmm.
so the Kraken do not, in fact, have the first glow in the dark jerseys in the NHL, which we were kind of led to believe, because Vegas had them a couple years ago. But yeah, I guess you could go ask somebody who has one of those jerseys if they've washed it and if they've noticed any difference to it after a wash or two.
Yeah. No, I think I actually know a couple people who have those jerseys. It's too many. Why are people buying that Vegas reverse retro? But anyway, but yeah, I could ask around and see.
Yeah. But that's just another thing that I thought of that I was like, I don't know about that. But otherwise, like again, I think for black on black, again, I'm not thrilled with the black on black, but for black on black, I think that they actually did a pretty good job here, and I think the overall kit's gonna look decent. But yeah, those are my thoughts there. And I know again, it's been kind of different reactions. I feel like people are generally like me, where it's like, yeah, it's not bad. I haven't seen like people that are like totally blown away. Not too many people that have been totally blown
Yeah.
away. But again, I wonder how much of that was just because, for those of us like more dialed in, we've just kind of known and guessed that this is what it was going to be for so long that a lot of the cool surprise factor wasn't there on release day.
Yeah. Of the things we knew about it, like the best parts about it are the things we've known for months. And so I think
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it's just going to lead to it being underwhelming. And I mean, just looking at the comments on our Twitter posts or Instagram posts
Hmm.
about it, that seems to be all the most like comments are like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It feels like it came up a little short relative to the hype, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my take on it.
Oh, yet another product that has been victim to just too good of a hype machine behind it. It's just such a
Yeah.
problem to have. Now,
Well, I mean, the Kraken have so many. If the Kraken have so many great people in like the creative departments and things, you can make those great videos and hype it up
Mhm.
really well and do such a good job of it. And so it can make the end product a little underwhelming. But those same people who are really good and have those visions are
The game
also
day.
they're the game day people, right? And so they can come up with really cool ways to make it look good in the pregame show and make other things potentially very interesting in the pregame show as well. And so like I just can't wait to see what they're able to do with it because that kind of thing can surprise us.
Yes, and we will get to a potential new element of that. But before we leave the jerseys, I talked about accessorizing around the jersey before RJ. And one thing that people pretty quickly moved on to was asking the question of what would the goalie kits look like in these jerseys? And we do not know totally what those might involve. However, we have gotten a look at Joey Daccord's new mask for when they are wearing these jerseys. And spoiler alert, it glows in the dark and it looks awesome.
Yes, it does. And that's probably the best part about all these jerseys, I think, and how it's all going to look is Joey Daccord's mask. And of course, leave it to Joey Daccord to save this, completely save this, because I think he is going to look amazing even when the lights are on.
Mhm.
Because looking at his new mask, that again, Shifty is the artist. Shifty does not miss, first of
Nope.
all. Like Shifty does not ever put out a bad mask, but I think this one is especially good. Of course, it glows in the dark. That's awesome. It's going to match the jerseys in that way. I think it's going to glow probably more than the jerseys will. And
Mhm.
it's going to be more prominent, I would imagine. But even with the lights on, it's still such a nice mask. It kind of has like the black main color to match the jerseys with some red accents. I love the Kraken eye on
Yeah.
either side. That's my favorite part about this mask, and it just matches the colors of the jersey so well.
Yeah. My favorite are like the kind of glowy paint splotches. that are kind of like
Yes.
all around, including on like
On the
the
cage.
cage, which I'm assuming it's just like outwardly facing, and Joey's it's not in any sight lines for Joey. But I think that that looks really cool. Like it, again, it just kind of takes it up a notch. It's anytime they do something that can happen on the cage, I feel like it just makes it that much more immersive and feel like real, and like as though, especially when you're talking about like paint splatter effects, like it actually happened, right? Like I do sometimes hate when somebody's got like a, oh, it's supposed to look like a very like artistic kind of, you know, thrown together design, and then like this immaculate like chrome cage, and it's like, oh, all right. But when they do scuff up the cage or do stuff like this, that I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Joey's done that before too. Like
He
his Winter
has.
Classic
Yep.
mask has that effect on the cage. And I love seeing that too.
Me too.
Because at least in my experience, get totally different, you know, our level of hockey versus the pros. But I played goalie with a few different color cages with like a silver. I even had a gold cage on the mask that I
Mhm.
still use. You don't really notice it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look all that different from the inside when you're
Yeah.
trying to track pucks and whatnot. But love
But
that
it's never
splatter paint.
glowed, RJ.
I know it never glowed, that's for sure. But I do love this mask from Joey Daccord, and it's going to be the best looking part of the whole uniform, I think, for anyone.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to look fantastic. All right, now we have kind of teased this a little bit, but there is something new at Climate Pledge Arena that we've seen some people point out that have been at some recent Storm games, and that is what appears to be a new tentacle up in the rafters. Now, not like new as in it's replacing the old Kraken tentacle that would come down and look like it was breaking up out of the ice, because that's still up in the rafters. This seems to be a new additional one, RJ, that we don't have like a great look at it because it's up in the rafters. We just haven't been there to really see it. But based on pictures here, I mean, it looks like I have to imagine it would be for these new jerseys, and it looks like it might have some neon piping to it that I would assume would glow in sequence with these new jerseys.
That would be my guess. It would seem like the most likely thing. I'm interested in the shape because it looks like it's not a tentacle like the other one. It's kind of the tentacle almost removed from the Kraken logo. It's
Right.
like you took, I don't know, it's like you took like the magic wand tool on the Kraken logo on Photoshop or something, right? And you just selected a certain part of it
Hmm.
with it has like the blue part of the tentacle and then the eye, and that's all you took.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to figure out kind of where this fits. It looks like there should be another piece that like locks in to create the full logo.
Right. It's kind of, it's not a full S, but it's a portion of the S, and there's the I, but then they're also built onto a metal mesh frame. And that's the part that tells me this is going to glow, so that you're not really going to notice that metal mesh frame, because otherwise it's just going to look awkward kind of being lowered down.
Oh yeah.
But my guess is that I is going to glow red. I can't imagine it
What
not.
what a bold guess, Dylan.
I'm really going out on a limb there. I know. And then, you know, the rest of it will probably glow the light blue. And maybe you know, they'll pitch it a little closer to the greenish blue that the jerseys are going to glow. But yeah, based on what we're seeing from it, that would be my guess as to what we'll get from it. But I'm curious to see, like, yeah, is there going to be more to it that's going to get attached to it, because there's still time for them to throw more stuff up there, hanging over everybody's head, or is this kind of it, and how are they going to incorporate it? Because yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Um, if it's just like the S and the I, like, and it's only half of the S, it would feel a little like the tentacle now, where it kind of feels awkward by itself, where it's just like one tentacle. It feels a little like this should be something else. I feel like this might also kind of be that way, but I don't know. Also, the other thing is I'm trying to gauge based on the picture that you and I are both looking at
Where it's positioned.
where it's positioned, because it feels like it's positioned. I mean, where the normal the normal tentacle comes down pretty close to center, but it's kind of on the Kraken side of center. Like this feels like it's closer than potentially to center, if this is in
Right.
fact its final
And
place.
right. And that's the thing. They could maybe move it somewhere else or whatever. I'm trying to gauge because also like which direction we're looking at it from. Because
Hmm.
we have the picture and we're seeing I can't tell which side which side of the original tentacle we're looking at, because it just has that icy base that kind
Yeah.
of looks the same from either side.
Well, what section does it lean? Because we can see the tentacle come up and it kind of hooks off to the left, which means the top's going to
Oh,
curve to
okay.
the right. So that would give us that information.
Yeah, so it leans to the left and the top's gonna, I'm having trouble orienting myself here. So that the top would go to the right from the picture we're looking
Yes.
at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we're looking at it from the Kraken bench side,
Sure.
I
I
guess.
don't remember how it goes. It's been
Yeah.
too long. This is why we need Kraken hockey more frequently. Let me just look
Yeah,
at
that we are.
Kraken. Uh, what what would I put? I'm just gonna go to our YouTube video of like the pregame Kraken pregame show.
Well, because there's only so it must be on the Kraken side of the ice. It has to be. They're not going to put something on the opponent's side of the ice.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's gonna come down at center.
Oh, okay.
But yes,
Well, because then it could kind of match with the center eye logo on the ice, because you can't make that light up, of course.
right. So we are going to be on the picture we're looking at of the new tentacle is from the Kraken bench side. What looks like it would have to be then the player, the opposing team's end of that side of the rink.
Okay.
This is obviously closer to it. Now, the other thing I'm just kind of now noticing though
Mhm.
is if you look at this picture, there's the catwalks around it, and you can see the bottom of the catwalks. But then doesn't it look like there's something extended out from there? Like just if you just go straight south of the new tentacle. And again, I'll have the picture up on the video version of this pod and post a picture on Discord. Doesn't that like that's a lot thicker. Like that's a solid base all the way down that they've put up there. Now, is that just where all the lights and the generators and stuff are, or is that potentially they're building up there, like the rest of
Hmm.
this?
Right. I think that's just where.
Because there is like a hub for all the lighting and the electrical and all of that stuff
Yeah,
up
that
there.
looks like it. That looks
It's
like
just
it
the
would just
hub.
normally be there. I don't
Okay.
know that that necessarily means building.
Yeah. Just speculating. Just
Yeah.
speculating.
If
But
anyone
yeah,
goes to
I don't
any
know.
Storm games coming up,
Yeah,
you know,
take a look up
let
there.
us take a look. Yeah, see what you can find out. Let us know.
Yeah. So that's just another curious thing, something to look out for. And again, I will it just be for games where they wear these third jerseys, or is this just going to be a new feature for all pregame stuff? I would assume if it's new, they would take down the old one.
Yeah, I would think so. Although I don't know how it all fits in.
The other
Like
thing is,
however
this
the
would be
creative
closer
minds
to the
are.
bench. Like, not only is it more center, but it's also closer to the bench, which makes me wonder. I wonder if there will be another side of this, and then the players will skate out through like a bridged, an arch of this, maybe. I don't know.
Talk about not original, but
I know, but that would be something to do.
it would be something to do. Okay, I'll just come out and say it. I hope that's not what that is. Just because, look, that's really been done before. But we'll see.
It's the placement though. Like I mean, this is going to be right in front of their bench. Assuming this is its final resting place, that's right in front of their bench.
Yeah, definitely. Although if it's just this piece, there's no way you can really skate out from under this thing
No,
without
you would
clipping your
just kind
head.
of skate by it. So
But maybe there'd be another one.
yeah.
I don't know.
So we'll see. We'll see. But interesting stuff to kind of speculate on here before the season starts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll have a bunch of non-speculation stuff in a week when we actually see players and how they do. Got to get all the speculation out right now, especially on the things like, how it's all going to look, game presentation, jerseys, all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, cannot wait for all of that. Can't wait for rookie camp to get started here in just a couple days. Really
We
looking
should let everyone
forward
know
to
the
that.
schedule.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, why don't we go over the schedule, and again, I'll throw up the graphic here on the video version.
Yeah, so the Kraken did finally release their schedule for rookie camp and training camp this year. So rookie camp is going to start September 10th. Well, the first on ice work will be September 11th, and then run through September 15th. And then training camp is technically going to be start September 16th, but the first like on ice, it'll start September 16th because 15th is like the media day. It's a day off. So September 16th, and that runs through October 1st, although technically it goes through October 4th. Yeah, October 1st, the final preseason game, and then October 4th, I think, is kind of you're getting into really the start of the
Yeah.
season. But anyway, those are the dates for it, and they are going to have a lot of those dates open to the public. So for the public viewing dates, just so everyone knows, if you want to go check out the Kraken at rookie camp or training camp, September 11th is the rookie camp public viewing date. So that's the first day the rookies are on the ice. So that'd be a good day to go to. Then, of course, the Kraken are going to have a game against the Canucks as part of the rookie camp on September 13th at 6 p.m. at Angel the Winds Arena in Everett. So if you're up to the north, that'd be a great opportunity to go see the Kraken prospects take on the Canucks prospects. And then the training camp dates that are open to the public are September 18th, 21st. 21st is Kraken Hockey League Day, so there's priority access for Kraken Hockey League players like myself. Then September 23rd, the 24th, 26th, the 28th, and September 28th is Kids Day. So bring your kids to that one. That's a Saturday, so they'll be out of school. And then September 29th and September 30th. So those are the public days where you can go and see the Kraken. And they have it on the Kraken Community Iceplex website, the times, because the times for it are different. Like every single day has a different time. But go on the website, see what time it is, and go to training camp and rookie camp and watch the Kraken get ready for the season.
Yeah, looking forward to those days. Always love when everybody can come in and get to watch it as well. It just the better energy days, you know.
Yes,
I feel
those are
like
the best days.
it just helps everybody else out having the fans in there, especially like Kids Day too, having all the kids around. Like everybody's just in a better mood. Us,
Yeah.
we're in
When
better
it's just
mood.
the media,
Kids,
it brings it
it's
down. It really
it
does.
is. Yeah, it's too work like, you know, for the
Yeah.
for the team and for us. It's just too straight up work like. The others feel more like an event. It's fun. It's special. Everything's just a little bit lighter. So definitely recommend coming out and seeing those. Definitely recommend the prospect game. Like I'm really looking forward to this prospect game against the
Yeah, you're gonna be
Canucks
there.
on Saturday. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go. Can't wait for that and to see them all play, not just like against each other, right, in a practice setting, but like actually go out there and like play what should look like a real hockey game. I think that's going to be really interesting to see these guys that we're so used to seeing battle against each other, right? Actually be able to go out there and play on the same team. I loved when they went down to LA last year and they were able to do that prospect tournament down there. I think it was a lot of fun, and it taught us a lot about kind of where some of those prospects could fit into things with the Kraken in the future. And so definitely recommend looking into that. There's still a lot of tickets available, and it's not expensive at all. It's like $23. So
Yeah, and you could see players who will play on the Kraken this season. I mean, Berkeley Catton will
mhm,
be there. Yanni Newman will be there. I
yeah,
mean, Jake O'Brien won't play on the Kraken this year, but he'll be there. Some of the future of the franchise. It's not like it's kind of fringe prospects. There's some of
yeah.
the team's best.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of guys that are also going to take part for the Firebirds this season and play prominent roles down there too. So you got to get an early look at what that roster is going to look like, because there's a lot of them going down to the Firebirds this year. It's a lot of Firebirds there. So definitely looking forward to all of that. Can't wait to break it all down for everybody next week on the pod, but unfortunately we'll have to wait until next week. One more time before we go, going to shout out our wonderful sponsor, the offices of Rico Tessendor. While we hope none of you ever need his services, the odds say that at some point someone out there will be involved in an accident, whether on the road, at work, or anywhere in between. And when you are, we hope you call Rico at 425-778-9800 or visit his website, ricotessendor.com, to schedule a free consultation. He's won millions of dollars for his clients and helped thousands of people in the greater Seattle area. And as a fellow member of the ECH community, we know he'll help you too. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you all next time.
Hey everyone, before we go, we just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/Emerald City Hockey, especially our Terror of the Deep patrons.
Thank you so much for making all this possible. We really appreciate your support.